Hey guys, thanks for watching a Jaguars United video positional breakdown. Today we're breaking down the edge rushers, and I'm really excited because this is one of my favorite groups on the entire team. But before we get into that, make sure that you follow us on all of our social media. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We do live shows twice a week, and we love getting the fans involved with their comments and their thoughts. So make sure you subscribe so you get a live notification for our live shows during the week. You can also check out our website where we have all of our videos and all of our articles and all of our apparel and all that other stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoy. All right, so elephant in the room, Yannick Ngakoue is holding out on his franchise tag. The Jags want to franchise tag him and have him play for $17 million next year, and Ngakoue feels he deserves a long-term deal. The future with him in Jacksonville is up in the air, but he is an edge rusher on the roster, so we have to talk about him a little bit. And even though he had a decline last year in productivity, his PFF grade was a 72. His run defense grade was a 51.6, which is what most people like to point out about him this year. On 794 snaps, not exactly what we saw in 2017. But that being said, since entering the NFL in 2016, he has 14 forced fumbles, which is 4th in the league. He has 85 quarterback hits, which is 8th in the league. And he has 37.5 sacks, which is 12th best in the league in that time and 2nd in Jaguars franchise history. There's no doubting this guy's talent and how good he is. It's just the big question is, does he want to play here? I guess that's what we'll see. It's hard for me to see him not playing on a $17 million one-year contract because, I mean, that could change your life, especially if you were a third-round pick and weren't used to that type of money before. But, I mean, he is worth a long-term deal, but I guess they can't come to terms. Doesn't like the city. There's a lot of things that could happen. So, hopefully he gets on the field. Great player, can really add to this team. But verdict's still out on him. There's trade rumors going around and then being debunked and all these things. It seems like Caldwell and Khan want him to play, and it seems like Jan doesn't. So we'll see what gives. Hopefully we have him lined up on the field because he's a great player. The next player is Josh Allen, and Josh Allen is probably my favorite edge rusher on this team. I love the way he plays the game. I love his potential. I love his athleticism. He was drafted by the Jags in 2019. It was like a gift that he was still there. I remember everyone was talking about what a steal it is of that draft, and he really did prove to be that last year with 10.5 sacks, a major part of this defense on only 634 snaps. His PFF grade came out to about a 68, run defense grade 60, pass rush grade a 70. But the eyeball test, man, the guy's so athletic. He can chase down every play from the backside. He beats offensive linemen with like speed and strength. So he gets to the edge and makes offensive linemen get off balance when they're trying to block him. And then he uses his power when they're off balance to knock them out of the way and get to the quarterback. A phenomenal rookie year, especially on the amount of snaps that he took. I mean, I'm expecting him to take at least 300 more snaps this year. So you can imagine what he can do with 300 more snaps given what he did last year and still learning. I mean, not having Calais Campbell in this defensive line is going to hurt everyone, and I think you're going to see their numbers kind of come down a little bit. But the guys like Josh Allen, they're going to really just still put up good numbers because of their speed and because of their athleticism. Plays well against the run, which I love. Seems like a team leader. Seems like a team captain type of guy. Plays with a chip on his shoulder. All the right things you want to see from Josh Allen. I like his ability to stand up. I like his ability in the three-point. He seems to be most productive from like that 7 technique outside of the tackle's shoulder. Or even outside of the 9 technique, outside of a tight end shoulder if he needs to. But I think as his game progresses and he becomes a better player, you might see him do some stunts to the inside, more closer to the center. I mean, I know they got a couple sacks that way last year and kind of taking on more of a role that we wanted Ngakoue to take on as a leader. So Josh Allen's the guy, in my opinion. I think he's one of the best players in the league. I think he's one of the best defensive ends in the league, and I'm super pumped about the future that he has with us. The next guy is Clayvon Chase and admittedly, I didn't know much about him when the Jaguars drafted him 20th overall in 2019. I had heard his name a couple times. I watched him in the big game against Alabama in 2019 when he had a really good game, and I'd recognized his name, and I'd seen him. I knew he was super athletic, but I didn't even know, admittedly, that he was projected to go in the first round. So it kind of caught me off guard when the Jags drafted him, but when I went back and watched his film, I kind of see what they were seeing. And I'm actually really excited about Clayvon Chase. I know I'm a Sunshine and Rainbows guy, but one of the most athletic guys I've seen come out of college at any position. He got injured in 2018, which I think really hurt his draft stock. He tore his ACL really early in the season. But in 2019, he came back with 34 solo tackles, 6.5 sacks, forced fumble, and just literally was flying all over the field. You don't get a lot of stats for like chasing players down from across the field, but his film is full of that. And his film is full of just making athletic moves that just really set him apart from other edge defenders in the league. Now, how far away is he from becoming a Josh Allen type guy, a guy that is a Pro Bowler and can get you over 10 sacks in a season? I'm not really sure, because there's two factors there. You know, he was injured in 2018. He's kind of, hasn't had a lot of experience playing football as far as snap counts. Then there's also the history of the Jaguars defense and defense coordinator and head coach kind of slowly bringing along draft picks as far as snap count goes. I mean, I think Josh Allen had 634 snaps and he was a Pro Bowler. So where are they going to have him on the field? Is it going to be only passing downs to start off? Hopefully he gets to play a lot, and I think the Ngakoue saga will kind of weigh in on those snaps. Frankly, I've been okay with Ngakoue leaving for a while, because I want Ngakoue to give all his snaps to Clayvon Chase. I mean, if Chazon gets all those snaps, we get to really see what we have in him. And the way he just can kind of like throw people around and really make plays, he's very instinctual. Everything you want in an athlete, and he projects to be a really good player. I've heard him called a project player, which is kind of unfair, because Taven Bryan was also a project player, and he's now in year 3, and we're kind of expecting him to be it. I don't think Chazon will take 3 years. I think he could be there in 2. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Hopefully he can kind of flash what he did in LSU. And, I mean, this is shaping up to be an incredibly athletic edge rush group. I mean, that's without Ngakoue. So super pumped about Chazon. Hopefully he gets 1,000 snaps this season. Next up is big Dwan Smoot, and he's a fan favorite. Now, I got to say, every time he gets a sack, you hear Smoot in the stadium. He has a vlog. I mean, he's just a guy that's really likable. At only 25 years old, he has a lot going for him as that big end edge rusher player. 6 sacks last season, 29 tackles total for solos, and then 9 tackles for loss. 15 quarterback hits, and a lot of his sacks were earned. I mean, it was him collapsing the pocket. It wasn't him just like cleaning up. And he's going into his 4th season, and he's got a lot going for him. PFF wasn't kind to him. In fact, they rated him out the 103rd edge rusher out of 103, which would be dead last. His run defense grade was a 38.8. His defensive grade was a 45.1. I don't get too caught up in that. I think those are more just like baselines to go off of. But only played 400 snaps and had 6 sacks. I mean, just the ratio there is enough to tell you that, if this guy gets more sacks, is he going to have more production? So it's an interesting case study with Dwan Smoot. I mean, I want to like him. I think he'll have a role in this team as a rotational guy. And he's big. He's strong. I mean, he can move big tackles. I mean, we have a lot of smaller edge rushers. I mean, Josh Allen is really good size, but, he's not the thickest guy. Clayvon Chase is obviously a bit undersized at the moment. So bringing in a guy like Smoot to really push tackles, to really push the pocket, can be helpful for everybody across the defensive line. Hopefully his run defense can step up. I mean, that's where we need him the most, honestly, given his size. Everyone was bad last year. Everyone's grades were bad last year, so I don't get too caught up on that. Excited for Smoot. Hope he can add some more productivity and more play, but I guess only time will tell with him. And the last guy we're going to talk about is Adam Gotsis. And the only reason why I added him to this video, and he was a late addition, he wasn't originally going to be a guy that I talked about, was I'm seeing all this momentum toward him getting snaps, whether it be toward who they're sitting out of practice or who they're giving a day off to, who's getting mentioned in interviews. And I keep hearing Adam Gotsis' name come up over and over again. So I was like, all right, well, let's see what this guy's got. Turns out, if you're not familiar, he was an Aussie rules football player from Australia. Came over here. He's been in the league for 4 years. He was drafted in the 2nd round by the Broncos, and he had some good moments in Denver. Only played 9 games last year due to some injuries, 16 tackles. He's had 5 sacks in his career. Unfortunately, did not have any last year. Another big end guy that I think is going to take the spot of the Aaron Lynch, who might have gotten some snaps or that kind of a situation. Definitely going to be a rotational guy, but his film was okay. What I liked the most about it was he's really good against the run. And that's what we lacked last year. One of the worst teams in the league against the run. I mean, I think after Jalen Ramsey was traded, we literally were bottom in the league in most defensive categories, especially against the run. So bringing in a guy like him is only going to help us and going to add to our run defense effort that we went into in the offseason. So we'll see. Rotational guy, could help against the run. Excited to see what happens. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. You can check out our live shows on YouTube that we have. They're pretty fun. We get the fans involved through the chat. So if you haven't checked out one of the live shows, make sure you do. Make sure you check out our website. We got some articles up there. We got all our videos posted up there. All sorts of things going on. Follow us on Twitter. Do all that stuff you know to do. Look, we're so humbled that you guys are part of this journey. We love you guys. Thank you for all the support that you've given us. We can't wait till the next video, next live show, and we'll see you soon. As always, go Jags.